Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Kuri, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode, Unleashing Unlimited Sexual Power. We're on part 2, and yesterday we did part 1. Go and check that out if you haven't. It was more just a pre-frame for what we're going through. It's actually understanding that we have a debt to pay as man. Life as a man is difficult, but it's even more difficult when you do not take action and start trying to engage with life and doing difficult things so you're better at dealing with life. In fact, it's like building a muscle that the more you tackle the difficult things, the better you get at handling life. And therefore, by proxy, you get what we call gravitas. So it become a man of substance. And that's the thing that becomes very attractive. But in order to do so, there's other bits that we need to be looking at. And today we'll be looking at that you never seek out sexual approval because it makes you look weak and unattractive. So there's a few things that I'll detail with this. And a lot of guys' mistake that they make is that they do acts of service as a way of trying to get approval sexually. So you see this when I talk about, doing the dishes, doing stuff around the house. Once upon a time when you started realizing that the sex was beginning to dwindle within your relationship, you had a discussion where you said, I don't know what's going on, honey. We're not having any more affection or intimacy. How can we do a little bit more of that? She tells you, babe, I'm tired. We're dealing with the kids. I'm having to do all the dishes and I'm doing all the cleaning. And I'm just really tired of it. And I feel tired all the time. So that's the reason why I can't do it. And as men, we say, you know what? I'm more than happy to do that for you. So you end up doing all these things in order to seem important, to seem helpful. And by proxy, you're hoping that she then in turns feel attracted because she feels lucky that she's got this amazing husband that is willing to chip in and help out and do all these amazing things, but she doesn't see it that way. What that tends to happen is because you're seeking this sexual approval by doing these acts, and when you do so, it takes this really weird frame where she feels like it's transactional, that is doing all of this in order to get sex. And it becomes a little bit dirty. It's got a negative association when it comes to it, when she's looking at it. So it becomes important for you to understand that, okay, me doing stuff in order for her to see me from a sexual sense, or at least from a favorable light, and then hopefully have sexual interactions, it becomes a very horrible situation when you're doing acts of service to get approval. And this is where we talk about approval seeking. It creates a dynamic where she sees you as her being the leader and you be this person that's trying to get approval. And generally, because she's already shown you that she's not prepared to go to do something sexually, because again, if you really think about it, a lot of the stuff that we do, whether it's washing dishes, looking after kids, doing all of those things, those are necessities. We have to do them. If somebody is deciding to check out of that and decide to be on the sideline with it, generally that's where a lot of self-doubt comes into play, lack of confidence, depression, anxiety. Some of your wives are suffering with this because they're sitting on the sideline while you are engaged with the game and you're taking on everything for everything within the household and trying to get the money for the house as well and do all sorts. So again, the acts of service, by really replacing them, it creates a weird dynamic within your relationship, which doesn't give you the approval that you need. It looks like a really low value person behavior. So she looks at it from a sense of I don't know why, but I don't feel like having sex, even though I'm rested, even though I've been sitting here watching my housewives or whatever she's watching on telly. She will quite gladly sit there for the next 3-4 hours after you finish cleaning, watching shows, and then as you try and do something, oh my God, why are you trying to seduce me? Why are you trying to touch me in order to have sex? We've got time for the programs, but no time for the, prioritizing the relationship. So again, you see this, a lot of it, because there's this approval seeking. And when you take that behavior, she doesn't feel a personal responsibility on the actual relationship, because then she's like, there isn't any value. Are not bringing any value to this interaction from a sexual standpoint, because there's this, she feels like she's above you in terms of, and again, this is probably the theme of this whole interaction. So the other one is passive seduction, and I call it passive seduction, is that a lot of you guys, in order to gauge to see if there's any chance of you guys having sex, you do this innuendo thing where you're like, oh, I'm just going to throw out an innuendo and see if you're gonna laugh at the joke. If she laughs at the joke, then maybe I can proceed. So you're almost sitting there waiting for this sign, and like many of you know, the sign never comes because she's not even thinking about sex. You're not making it interesting, you're not making it exciting. Now, we talked about this a few weeks ago, that when it comes to seduction, you have to do the attraction bit. So you have to get her to like you, and then when she likes you, and then you transition to seduction, she's going to be more compliant to want to have sex with you. And you can never jump these steps. It's like set in stone. You don't jump these steps. There are times where you can just move straight into seduction and then have sex. Pretty common, it happens. But when it comes for frequency and in place for where you guys have got a sexless relationship and you're changing that around, it is the law. You have to go through attraction and then seduction. You get her to like you in order for her to be compliant when you go sexual. So again, when you are passive, then you're doing neither of those. You're just waiting for her to make the first move, which is essentially approval-seeking behavior. Like, look at me, I'm seated here like a good boy. Are you going to give me something? Very terrible dynamic. Don't do that. She's never going to fuck you if you do that. So, passive seduction, don't do it. It's fucking horrible, because and I've spoken to clients, and not just clients, just many people I've spoken to, they talk about, sometimes when it's the weekend, they're rested, and then they're laying there on the weekend or at night or in the evening, and they're just laying there, they're both awake, and he's waiting for the sign that something is going to happen, and nothing happens. And it's because you're waiting for something to happen. So you have to be proactive. You have to be doing something in order for that to happen. And again, those actions that you're doing, it's presenting opportunities, not even to try and get her into bed. You're presenting opportunities because regardless whether you have sex with her or not have sex with her, it's not going to alter the way you feel about yourself. And that's the key bit. Then again, when it comes to seduction and attraction and all those things, a lot of it comes down to then whether or not she decides it's going to happen. It does not alter you as a person, and it does not alter your state. You're still happy and still who you are, and still happy with everything, the way things are going. So with the last point, and I'm going to wrap up with this one, that's sex to impress her versus sex to connect. Now, a lot of you guys, when you do get the opportunity to have sex, you decide, I need to bring the biggest game in terms of sex, and I need to give it the most explosive orgasm, and by doing so, I'll remind you so that next time we can have sex. Now, it sounds like counterintuitive, because like, wow, I'm giving her the best orgasm she's ever had. Like, yeah, of course. But when you place value on giving her the orgasm and showing her that you're capable of giving her orgasm, by proxy, you're getting her to become the judge of the actions that you're doing, and she will sense that, and she will not see any value in coming back. And I'm sorry for saying this, but I need you to hear this, because when you hear this, it will alter the way you look at sex for the rest of your life. Are you ready? She can have a fucking orgasm by herself. So you giving an orgasm isn't that valuable. I'll say it one more time. She can have a fucking orgasm by herself. You giving her an orgasm isn't that valuable. So you can't have sex. When you do have sex, there's no need to bring out the big guns in order to impress her, because by doing so, by proxy, you're actually low value because you're trying to impress. In fact, I did this once. I was having the night of my life when I was picking up women. The night of my life, like literally everything was working. To the point where I had several times where I had no word openers. What this is that you walk up to a girl, don't say anything, you look into her eyes, you smile, she says what's going on. She's not sure, but she senses your gravitas so powerfully that she just doesn't know, but she wants to kiss you, and she kisses you without you saying anything. So that had already happened. So I was at the peak of my powers. And then I saw the most stunning woman I'd ever seen for a long period of time. I mean, she was absolutely stunning. So I saw her from the corner of my eye, and guess what? I started walking towards it, and in my mind I said, this one, I'm going to have to bring my biggest game. And as soon as I got there, she blew me out. I walked away with the tail between my legs, and I was thinking to myself, I was like unstoppable. And then all of a sudden, what happened? And I remembered, for that split second, I thought the way I was as a pickup artist in the game that I was doing, which was absolutely exceptional. I was like Tom Brady of game at that time. I was like exceptional. I thought that was not good enough. I needed to step it up a notch. And by doing so, it was approval-seeking behavior. She senses approval-seeking behavior. She's like, nah, I'm not interested. So it brings me back, sex to impress versus sex to connect. Now, if I'm in the moment and Miss Tribesman is with me and we were doing our thing and I'm in the moment, I'm enjoying every single moment, I'm not trying to impress her, she's not trying to impress me, we're just trying to enjoy the experience, we're taking our time, we're joking, we're within the mood, we're interacting, we're talking, we're, hold me here, let's do this, let's try this, and it's something that we're sharing and enjoying within the moment. She's most likely to come back to it because it's a moment that we're sharing that is fulfilling, that is empowering for our relationship. And it's all of that. And that's where the goal should be. And I know a lot of guys emphasize on the orgasm because they want to hear moan and scream and that. And it's just an ego thing that, okay, look at this thing that I can do. And really when you can pull back and say, I want it to be meaningful. I want it to be a sense when we walk away from this. I want her 3-4 days from now, she thinks back to this and just smile and say, I had the best time with my husband. Yes, with an orgasm, but more than that, with this incredible connection that we had. And I know it sounds woo-woo for a second, but I can guarantee you, when you shift from, because you're in your head at that point, if you actually, just one last point, whenever you are having sex to impress, you become in your head because now you're more about, have I done enough with the clitoris? Have I done enough with with tickling here? Have I done enough with the G-spot? Am I doing well? Is she enjoying it? There's so much going on in your mind that you're not allowing yourself to connect with her. So I'm going to stop it here. This is going to be a free course. It's going to be called Unleashing the Ultimate Sexual Power, and it's going to be a free course. This is the course that's going to be preparing you guys to go into Reignited Men, because if you know this, everything Reignited Men will make sense from the get-go. So it's like a pre-framing thing. Again, by listening to this course, it might actually be just enough in order for you to start changing your relationship and doing amazing things with the relationship so you can connect with a partner. And again, it's more making this type of teachings accessible to everybody so that everybody has got an opportunity to learn and do things well. And that's why I'm going into so much detail with this podcast. They're a little bit longer than I normally do, but it's giving you enough to really start putting some actions to your relationship. If you want to learn more, go to thriving_tribesmen on our Instagram. You can ask any questions and I can go into further detail with this. And also do so we can have your Instagram, or at least you don't need to add me as a friend. You can send me an Instagram and I can then send you information on the video series when it comes out. So again, I'm guessing going to put it on our Facebook group and also put it on our website. So looking forward to that. And you guys have been amazing. Some of you guys have written some really good messages on the Instagram. Looking forward to hearing from you and hearing about what you've learned about this, unleashing the ultimate sexual power, and what else I can teach you about this, or something that you might have a bit of confusion around, and I can recap on it and give you a little bit more detail, so I can really know exactly what I need to add in terms of adding, or maybe things I need to take out in terms of taking out. So thank you very much. Looking forward to your feedback, looking forward to your questions on thriving_tribesmen on Instagram. Thank you very much. Take care.